how technology will now be a much bigger part of our lessons and how we teach our students. But we have to be very careful that technology doesn't take over. There is nothing that can replace that face-to-face interaction. And one of the things for teachers these days is about how they use technology in a blended environment, so that it's not heavy on the chalk and talk type environment, nor is it heavy on continuous PowerPoints, videos, and the use of technology. It's more now about how do you facilitate the lesson for the children to participate at their strongest level. And you may find that your class is full of different levels of language, particularly for English. These days, you can be faced with somebody in your class who has minimum English compared to somebody who's very proficient, who speaks English at home, maybe has traveled a lot, and English is very comfortable for them. You know, there were the days, and not so long ago, where streaming was the way to go. So children would be streamed according to their language ability and in other subjects. But it certainly showed more recently that really streaming in that way is not beneficial to children at all. So your classroom that you're facing now is a diverse range of abilities and confidences. And one of your roles as a teacher in the classroom or online is about building confidence and building the ability for our children to be able to use the language that they're learning. It's very easy to learn things online, to read through books, think that you're very proficient in this way, but actually if you can't speak it or write it or use it, you won't get very far with it. So many of our classes now will look more at the students participating 85% of that lesson time, and the teacher really only introducing, setting objectives, and facilitating the next stage of each part of the lesson. It's great for a teacher because you're not standing there for an hour having to constantly talk. It means, particularly if you are a new teacher, it gives you those little bite-sized times where you can just regroup yourself, have a look at what you've done, and particularly if something maybe is not going quite so well, it gives you that opportunity to have a little rethink. You're not under pressure, and then you're bringing the children back to you, and then you continue on in maybe a new direction. So it's very important now for our teachers to be very versatile, to be very resourceful, and to be very adaptable. The other thing that I would say that has changed a lot recently, and particularly with these last months of online teaching, is the huge availability of online resources. There are many online resource packages for schools, and you will find going to any school, it's not 2 or 3 packages that everybody uses. There are so many out there. And certainly end of March, beginning of April, as a school principal, we were all inundated with offers of learning platforms, Literacy Planet, BrainPop, Mangahai Maths, all sorts of different things to help us with the online teaching. So one of the things that we had to be very wary of, and as I think as a teacher you also have to be wary of, is not picking up everything and saying, yes, wow, this is going to make my life so easy. Because actually in the long run, it makes it more difficult if you have too many of these things all running alongside each other. You do have to spend the time looking at them. Is it right for your class? Is it right for your students? Levels, you know, the size of your class. Will it make your life easier? Because sometimes it won't. And then you're in this situation where you've signed up for something, you've persuaded your principal to buy it, you've told all the parents, the children are excited, and then it's a disaster. So it's very important with these new platforms, and there will be a lot more out there now, to be using them in an intelligent way. But they will, there are certainly, when I look at what we've done over these last 3 months, there are certainly some of those platforms that we would continue on now into our lessons once the students come back to us. So I think really the face of the classroom is going to be quite different. I think in this interim time, if you are a new teacher who is about to go into teaching, you will find possibly that your IT skills have to be a lot stronger, and you have to have a bigger breadth. So it's not just about using a PowerPoint presentation. It's not just about being able to show and embed a video into your presentation. It could be that for half the time you're teaching face-to-face, half the time you're teaching online. It will evolve, and it's something that we have to really watch and look at and be mindful of as we move through these next 12 months, 24 months. I think, you know, when I'm looking for appointing a teacher, what I'm really looking for is those teachers who have a real passion for what they are applying for. Their passion is for English, their passion for children, and they really, really want to teach. It's not something that they're doing as a stopgap or something they're doing because they couldn't do this. So it is about really from your heart wanting to be in that classroom and wanting to give these children, these students, the best possible experience. So with that, we look for any practical experience that our new teachers have had. And you all do teaching practice as part of your course. But if you are really passionate about it, you will go and volunteer at places. And it doesn't have to be that standard classroom. It's just where you are interacting with children and you're imparting knowledge, but also helping them to apply that knowledge and take that further and to sort of feed off your passion for the work that you're doing. We also look for breadth in our teachers. So more and more schools will be looking for teachers that have real life experiences, maybe have other things that are not necessarily related to their teaching subject or their teaching, but that they can offer the school and offer the students as a co-curricular activity, as an outing, as a, I mean, I'm not sure when we'll be able to do school trips, but that sort of thing, I think we'll be a while in that one. But it's that type of thing that we're looking for. So when we speak to people, we want to be there really feeling that this person, once they get into the classroom, their priority are these children, and how they're going to extend these children, how these children are going to find this love of language. And particularly here, where for most of them, they're sort of participating in 3 or 4 languages. English is a very, very important part of what they're learning and what they're going to take with them. International schools, it is something that underpins all their other learning. So you are in a very pinnacle position there, because you're not only teaching them the language for the future, you're actually teaching them for the here and now, and you are a huge influence on all their other subjects that they're learning, and eventually their exam results that they're getting. It is a wonderful job to have. It's wonderful being in the classroom. It's a very rewarding job. It's something that being in a school, in that sort of lively, vibrant community, you are really going to benefit from. So I would always look for enthusiasm, for people who are really, really passionate, as I say, about coming into the classroom and working with those children. And as somebody, as Dr. Anna will know, as somebody that actually originally wasn't going to go into teaching, was very much in a sporting environment, as soon as I came into school, actually I loved it, and my whole career has been helping people and ensuring that these students do the best they possibly can. So I'm happy at the end to answer any questions, but yeah, do consider this as a great career path to have. Thanks, Anna.
Okay, thanks, Nikki. Right. I remember, Nikki, when I first approached you, Nikki is one of our industry partners. I think it was about 4 or 5 years been working together, Nikki.
Yeah.
And I remember the first time I met you, and that's when you first started, I think, Newlands Beacon House, right? Yeah. And I remember when I brought my students to do teaching practicum in your school, and you told me, and you said, let me see their resumes, their CVs. And you said, I don't want to see what they've done in university. I want to see what else have they done, And they were a little bit terrified. But I remember how you told them that they have to be totally involved. It's a holistic affair. They have to be involved in everything. And every time when we have students to do the teaching practicum, I remember you always tell them, get involved in the whole school experience. Don't just come and teach. Yeah. So you want to really want to thank you, Nikki.
My pleasure. And I think also it's important to say that actually I have appointed some of the students that have come to do their practical part of their course with us. So wherever you go to do the practical aspect of your course, it's very, very important to bear in mind that actually you're on show every day, and this could be the stepping stone to your first position.
Okay. Sorry, Nikki.
That's okay.
Yeah, there's some. Yeah, okay. Yeah, okay. But what was my last sentence? Did you hear?
Yes, it was about me looking at their resumes and telling them that they really have to be involved. So then for me, that's very, very important. And I also just wanted to share that when you go to do a practical experience in the school, just remember that this could be the first step to actually your first job. And that I was just sharing that I actually have appointed people that have come from Help University to who have done their practical with us, and we have then appointed them, and they have remained as teachers within our school.
Okay, thank you so much, Nikki. Right.
My pleasure.
Okay, so we'll move on to the next speaker. Let me just introduce Miss Delaney Ho. She's one of our lecturers at Help University. Over to you, Delaney.
All right. Thank you very much, Dr. Anna, for the introduction. And good morning, everyone. It's still morning. I'm really, really happy that I came after Nikki, because she's actually brought up some very interesting points about what teachers need in order to face the challenges of today, and also in preparing our students for what's to come in the future. So the topic of today's forum is shaping the English language teachers of tomorrow. And what I'll be doing is I'll be talking a little bit about the Bachelor of Education Teaching English as a Second Language program, or TESOL for short. We call it BEd TESOL. And it's a program that's offered by Help University. So as Dr. Anna mentioned, my name is Delaney. I'm a senior lecturer at Help University, and I'm also the BEd TESOL program leader. So what we're doing in this program is preparing students to become English teachers, who will then serve in various capacities in schools, whether it's government schools, private schools, international schools, in any form, you name it. And it's not always just about teaching. It could also be in any other field that requires the use of English. But really, our focus here today is on shaping the future English language teachers. and how that addresses the needs of our students today. So I'll be talking about it from two perspectives. One is from from the perspective of Help University and how our program helps to shape our students to become teachers, and how then we are preparing our students to become these teachers of students who would go to schools like what Nikki has said, the students who really need not only English for the future, but for today, and also this sense of, passion that our students, our future teachers need to have to interact with the students and to make learning meaningful for them. So it's sort of like, we're creating this new generation of teachers, and this new generation of teachers are going to raise a new generation of leaders. And who knows, maybe from them, we will also have, even greater teachers from that process. So just to give you a little bit of an overview of what this BEd TESOL program is like at Help University, it's a 3 years in 1 semester program that roughly comes up to about 3.5 years. We have an extra semester. You would think that it's just 3 years long, but the extra semester is actually necessary because this is where our students go out for their teaching practicum. So for 3 years, our students will be doing a series of modules. There are 37 modules in total, of which 28 are core modules. We won't cover all of them here, but all the information is available on our website in our brochure. And the students also have to complete some compulsory modules required by the Ministry of Higher Education. And our students also have elective modules that you can take, not just within our department, but also in our sister departments in the university. And what's probably more interesting to people who are interested to pursue a career in teaching is the teaching practicum, which, as I've mentioned, it comes in the final semester and it lasts for 16 weeks. We place our students in schools. So Beacon House Street Inai is one of those schools that we've sent our students to. And they spend 16 weeks carrying out their teaching practicum, and after which they would graduate with the Bachelor of Education in TESOL degree. In total, our students will complete 120 credit hours, and that is kind of what makes up the whole program. So at a glance, we can see that the BEd TESOL program is comprehensive. It covers 4 main areas. You could say that the modules in the program fall under one of these 4 categories. The first is linguistics, and we have some modules such as the history and structure of English, second language acquisition, social linguistics, psycholinguistics. These are modules that help our students to develop a sound foundation in the nature of language. And following that, we also have literature, which is sort of the art of language. We have some modules on English literature, which introduces the students to poems, short stories, novels, and plays. We also have electives in children's literature and theatre arts for those who are more inclined to work with, literature for children or even performing on stage. We also have courses, and this takes up most of the modules in the program, the methodology courses, which are very focused on the different skills and systems that we use in teaching English. So you have your 4 main skills of teaching reading, writing, listening, and speaking. And in addition to that, we also have separate modules for teaching grammar, teaching vocabulary, teaching literature, and a few other methodology courses. I'll touch on 2 a little bit later. And finally, we also have modules to do with research, particularly academic and research paper writing skills, where we teach our students how to do academic research, how they carry out that whole process of planning, drafting, writing, and revising their work, and how do you prepare a research paper that would be publishable in that sense. It's worthy of publication in some forms in future. The principles are very easy to grasp, and if our students plan to become researchers in the future, they can take on these they can take on the challenge and really try it out for themselves. And another module which I will also be touching on a little bit is action research, which is a very important component of this whole program because it eventually constitutes a significant portion of the students' performance in their teaching practicum, which is that final module in the whole program. So just to touch on this idea that the TESOL program addresses the needs of our learners today, I'd like to just share a little bit about this concept of 21st century skills. Now, various organizations and various scholars have come up with different combinations of what they consider to be 21st century skills. Some call them competencies. We can roughly put them into three categories. I've just decided to adopt this one, which has put it into three categories: is learning skills, literacy skills, and life skills. And essentially, what we're expecting our students to do is to develop these, competencies or skills to deal with the very changing, the fast changing environment of, the way things are today. And one very good example is the movement control order and the pandemic, and how, it has upended the whole way we carry out teaching and learning in class. It's no longer, just the traditional face-to-face. Most people would have expected this to carry on for quite some time, but because of the pandemic, so many things had to be revised. We had to, adapt very quickly, and as what Ms. Nikki has shared as well in her school, within the space of 4 days, you had to just consider, how to use online platforms to teach classes and so on. So just as how HELP has actually adapted to this online platform to carry on with its classes for the BEd TESOL program, we are also preparing our students to be adaptable, to be flexible, to cater to these needs in the future when they graduate and they go out there and start teaching in schools or in whatever field of endeavor that they wish to pursue. So in terms of the BEd TESOL program itself and our response to this teaching and learning changes that are taking place in the 21st century, I'd like to highlight three modules in particular, basically because they seem to be the ones that are more geared towards 21st century teaching and learning. Not to say that the others don't, but the others have always been part and parcel or have been incorporated into TESOL programs, in history, in the past. But these are what we could say are unique selling points, the more unique parts about our BEd TESOL program. The first module that I'd like to talk about is this course called Teaching Diverse Learners. Also, like what Nikki has said, you're dealing with students who come from all over the world, and they come from different backgrounds. Some who have very limited exposure to the English language, some who have traveled extensively and use English a lot. And out there, some different interests, some of them have, different passions and different ways of behaving in class. And, gone are the days where you have, a group of students and you can just use one size fits all approach and hope that all the children would learn. We are coming to realize that diversity in a classroom is a necessity. It's something that helps the students in the class to grow, to learn how to be culturally sensitive and to be aware of differences. And as a teacher, then teachers have to look at how they can cater to these diverse needs, because this is the reality of the world today. Globalization has, created more diversity in everything, not just in the classroom, but also in the workplace. And so this is something that we have to get used to, and our students in the BEd TESOL program will be learning about how to cater to these diverse needs. The next course that I'm also going to talk about is on teaching and learning technology. And this, you would say, is kind of an obvious choice because of what has been happening of late. With online classes, teachers having to adopt new methods of teaching, And also, just to echo what Nikki has said, it's not just about preparing PowerPoint presentations and playing some videos and so on. It's more than that. It's about creating those meaningful learning opportunities using some very enhanced digital tools that will allow you to do so much more than just changing the format of your presentation. Basically, there's so much potential in the digital tools that are available online that our students need to be aware of these things so that they can actually teach more effectively. And so it is so much more important today to think about how we can prepare our future teachers to be willing to take up these new tools and to adopt new practices in their teaching. And the third module that I'll be talking about is on action research. As I've mentioned, action research makes up a significant portion of the students' teaching practicum module, because as they are doing their teaching practice in school, they will need to conduct some form of research. And the idea is this, that the teacher is also a researcher, and the teacher has to reflect on his or her own practices from time to time to adjust and to find ways that would improve or enhance the teaching and learning process in the class. So just very briefly, this is an action research cycle. This is a model that is used to just represent what action research is about. We train our student teachers to go through this process of planning, acting, observing, and reflecting, really being very sensitive to the needs of the students that they will be teaching in future, and finding ways, constructive ways to overcome those challenges. So if you think about it, you have teaching diverse learners, which is about considering the needs of diverse students. And you have teaching and learning technology, which is about the integration of technology. And you have action research that requires the students to do some research, to collect data, to think about those needs, and maybe try to match them with whatever tools and whatever techniques and methods that are available to them. And so it is all a very comprehensive process, because we are training our students to think critically and to solve problems for themselves, rather than just saying that they can't do anything about it given the circumstances. If you're in a school and all you have is just a board and a piece of paper, that's not enough. We have to find ways to work around it. So in summary, we can say that these courses, along with all the other modules that we have in our B.Ed TESOL program, help to prepare students, and they're all aligned with the 21st century skills. In a way, we say that the Teaching Diverse Learners module prepares our students and develops their life skills to teach them to be flexible, to take initiative, to have leadership skills, to have social skills, to be productive in the way that they address the needs of our students. And in teaching and learning technology, we teach them literacy skills. It's not just about knowing your ABCs, but it's also knowing about the media, knowing about what information goes online, and also being aware of the technological changes that have been taking place in the world. And finally, with action research, it really is about learning skills, because it encourages our students, our future teachers, to think critically, to engage, to communicate, to collaborate, and to solve problems constructively. So in short, we can see that the B.Ed TESOL program, it takes a while. I mean, 3 years in one semester is a very huge commitment, but it's what we would need for our teachers to be able to be effective educators in the world today. So that's it from my part. If you have any questions about the B.Ed TESOL program, you can email me at this address that's on the screen right now. Thank you very much. Back to you, Dr. Anna.
Right. Thank you so much, Delaney. Okay. For the sake of time, we'll just quickly move on to our third speaker, and that's Dr. Wong. Dr. Wong, over to you. Dr. Wong, we can't hear you, Dr. Wong.
All right.
Okay, thanks.
Okay. Yep. Okay, I muted myself. Okay, good morning all. All right, that happens, yeah. Okay, I am the program leader of the MED TESOL program of Help University. And this is my full name, yeah, Wong Shin Ping. And today I will be giving some introduction of the Master of Education TESOL, which is offered in Help University. And also we'll be looking through some of the characteristics of this program and some of the capstone projects that we are doing, okay, with this program. Okay, this is a synopsis. Okay, I'm sure you have seen this in the brochure. All right. So this is a full name of the course, the program Master of Education TESOL. So this program would like to equip the future educators, okay, and many of our students are actually current school teachers who are doing English teaching in various schools in Malaysia and also in other countries as well. We have got a lot of international students, who are attending our Master of Education program, not just Malaysian students. And so we hope that this program will prepare them to influence and shape the leaders of the future. Okay, and many of them are students, and then some of our students also, if they like to, after they have actually completed their Master of Education program, many of them would also be changing their career path, okay, probably to teach in other institutions as well, other than schools. So I'd like to show you the features of our program. So this is the duration of a program. We will take about 18 to 24 months. All right, and it's actually modular, so it's very different from a lot. Of postgraduate programs which are offered, because we actually because of to cater for the needs of the students and also the job nature, we have actually hold the modules on weekends, on Saturdays and also Sundays. So it is it offers on a part-time basis, okay, for the students. So each module will be held for 3 weekends per module. And usually there will be gaps between the weekends so that students have ample time to prepare for the next session, the next weekend. And also to prepare for the assignments or any other projects ongoing during the course, the module. And there are altogether 10 core modules and 2 elective modules which students have to take during the program. And these are intakes: January, May, July, September. However, if you're interested to join this, other than these intakes, I think you're most welcome to contact the department. It could be Dr. Anna, myself, or Miss Asha, so we can discuss any potential, dates that you'd like to join. But it has to be coherent to the offer of our modules. And we have got a number of experienced and qualified lecturers who are teaching the program. So the first is definitely Dr. Anna, all right, who is also the lecturer of Master of Education TESOL. I'm teaching some of the modules as well. And we have got, I think, a number of lecturers as well, okay, in the department, Dr. Alexander, Dr. So, who are teaching a number of modules in the program. And it's very essential to mention this, okay, our program is MQA fully accredited. So it's actually approved, by the MOE, and then we have gotten accreditation quite some time ago. So these are our teaching and learning methods. Okay, and I think there's a need for us to show you this so that you know that when we have reached the postgraduate level, we don't just do a lot of final examination assessments and so on. In the modules, we have, other than lectures, we have carried out a number of different learning methods, such as workshop, seminar, and then we do a lot of discussions, during the module, and then we make sure it's very hands-on. So students have got some practices, some interaction, some exchange of opinions as well with their peers, with their colleagues, during the module. And during the module as well, we often have a lot of student presentations, so that students have got a sharing session with other peers, with the lecturer. And we have got a number of assignments as well, not just individual, but sometimes it could be pair assignment and group assignment as well. And we'll talk about action research, in a short while, because it's a capstone project, which is offered in the Master of Education TESOL. And we emphasize project-based learning. Okay, and because we are very sure that this will benefit our students in terms of their learning. Okay, I'd like to show you the number of modules that we offer in this program. So these are the 10 core modules which I mentioned, and I will show you some of this. Yep, and elective students will have to take 2 elective modules during the program. And often we will offer practical strategies for managing large TESOL classes. And we also offer literature and language learning, because we thought these 2 electives are very useful and very practical for the students. So I would like to do some of the modules that we are doing in the program, so we can have a glimpse into it. And if you have any questions, you may ask, at the end of the session. Is TESOL methodology 1. Okay, I'm showing this module because this is really hands-on. Okay, there is actually no final examination to this module. So in this module is mainly assignment-based and presentation-based. So in this, students are able to review current research on the teaching of listening and speaking skills. They are, very important in the teaching of, English in a lot of classrooms. And this is the first part of the methodology which we are going to offer to the students. And then in the coming months, usually students will have to take another module, another core module, which is TESOL methodology 2, which they will have to do reading and writing skills in terms of looking into the research and practice of these 2 skills. And at the postgraduate level, our students do not just look into the teaching practice and learning practice, of teaching English, but often we will emphasize the importance of research, okay, on these methods, on these aspects of TESOL which we're looking at. And as I mentioned, I know there will be lots of discussion and hands-on activities during the module. So we will make it very interactive, okay, between the students and also between the students and the lecturer. And it's project-based learning. Okay, for this module, there will be actually a project, which is a major assignment being offered, at the end, which has to be submitted at the end of the module, and students will have to actually do a lot of hands-on practice, for example, to actually carry out maybe a small research, on the area of listening or speaking, which they have chosen, and also they will have to actually work on some lesson plans, which is really practical, for them in their career. And I'd like to, okay, besides the core module, I'd like to show you one elective module, which is quite useful for our students as well. And this is literature and language learning. And for this one, in this module, students are able to learn or to actually, in a way, to increase understanding of the literary elements found in different genres of English literature. And also they learn how to apply them, okay, in the ESL situations. So it's not just acquiring knowledge, but then we also like students to apply the knowledge, in a lot of ESL situations. And again, we'll be having lots of group and pair discussions, so it's not so much of individual learning, but we like interaction to be ongoing during the module. And many of our students, as I mentioned, they are often, teachers in school. So they actually have got lots of experiences to discuss, especially in teaching literature. And also they could actually have got a lot of insights, to be shared, about this particular area. And we'll be having presentations and hands-on activities. And presentations are often linked to either tutorials, which will be held during the module, or presentations could be also linked to the assignments, which are part of the assessments, in the module. All right, so finally, I'd like to show you our capstone project, which is what we call the project paper. It's a core module to be taken by the students at the end of the program. So we call it research-based practicum. Okay, so for this one, students very different from undergraduate, B.Ed TESOL program. We do not ask our students to do practicum in schools, but instead they're actually going to carry out a research in schools. So it is actually an actual research paper, but it is often that we give them a word limit. It's about 8,000 to 10,000 words, but then it's actually called a research paper actually. And students will often have to do this research in their chosen area of interest related to TESOL, obviously, and in a school. Okay, because we like them to carry out the research in a school, so they are able to really probe into the issues which they are looking at, related to TESOL. And before they do this project paper, before our students do the project paper, our students also will take educational methods module, which will assist them to look more into the actual research method and to apply it when they're actually doing a project paper. So there will be a preparatory course preparatory module before they actually do the project paper, if we looked at it that way. And the project paper is actually closely supervised and guided by our experienced faculty members. And there are lecturers, whom I mentioned just now. It could be Dr. Anna, it could be me, or it could be other lecturers as well, as I mentioned just now. They're very experienced and very much well-versed, in a lot of areas of TESOL. And so our M.Ed TESOL program is actually very comprehensive, and it encompasses a number of essential areas in TESOL, and as you can look at right now. And our students often will actually exit, they will graduate, from this program with a lot of very rich, experience, and also interaction, and also networks, which they have gained through the program. And a lot of our alumni of M.Ed TESOL program right now, they are working in schools, they are working in institutions, or they have actually have become trainers and so on. So they have actually have lived a very, very interesting careers after graduating from our program. And we hope that this program is going to be a pathway for them to advance their career, and also to advance, the professional development, and as a teacher, as a trainer, or as a lecturer. All right, so here I end my presentation of the Master of Education TESOL, and I hope you have gained some insights about our program. So thank you very much for attending the presentation. If you have any questions, they're very much welcome. Okay, then I will do my best to answer them. Thank you very much.
Okay, thank you, Dr. Wong. Right, thank you so much. Okay, I just want to add and mention that we do have students that come and join our Masters of TESOL in Masters of Education in TESOL, who are actually not their first degrees are not in education, are not even in TESOL. So that's why we look at our courses. We've actually tailored it so much so that to equip these teachers with the necessary skills that they need to actually, if they choose to change their career after they finish our master's education. And we know for a fact that at least one or two teachers who have actually decided to change their careers after doing our Masters of Education in TESOL, and realizing that teaching is, it's a really, you need a passion, and they are really, now they feel they are equipped, because with all the things they've learned. And in fact, some of them have not even done literature in their first degree, and when they come and do our course, and they find it so interesting, because they tell us that, look at those short stories, or look at those poems that we are doing. It's another way of looking at life, and you really appreciate the aesthetic value, and so many lessons, moral lessons that you actually, moral values that you actually can pick up actually from this course. So that's why we always tell students that we give them a choice, but we always advise them, do the module for literature, and you learn so many other things as well. And just to add on as well, we also have action research for our master students, and some of the students do tell us, oh my, I've never done research in our first degree, we just did a project paper, we never did a full-blown research. But we tell them, don't worry, it's just action research, which simply means finding a technique or a strategy, or that you want to try out, or you find that you want to investigate whether this actually helps students. And so we actually help them to find, to go to these schools and get permission, and they actually carry out this action research in the school, and they get all excited when they come back with the data, and they say, what are we supposed to do with all this data? Then you tell them, now analyze the data and see actually whether this technique works, and how moving on can we actually help our students. And actually, it's very good to do research, because with research we realize there's so many things we actually do not know, but with this data now that we can analyze, and then we can do something about it. Yeah, so thank you again, Dr. Wong, for that sharing. Okay, now we want to open this time now for our questions. We have about 5 minutes or more or so. If you have any questions, you can put it on the chat. But okay, I see one. May I know when is the deadline for application for the closest intake? When are the intakes for this program? Okay, our next is July. I think Dr. Wong showed us. We have actually got 4 intakes. Okay, January, May, July, and September. But we do take in if you come in anytime within this intakes, we still do accept you as well. Yeah. So July is the intake, and you can actually contact us, and if you need to come in, we have one module that's going to be run in to be taught rather in at the end of July, so you can actually come in that particular time. Okay, does that answer your question? I think it is Jaitra, is it Jaitra? Yeah. Okay, is there any other question? We open this time. Our speakers are here, Miss Nikki, Dr. Wong, and Delaney. If any questions for them? Maybe our participants from overseas. Okay, do you have any questions you want to ask? Thank you again for joining us. Miss Nikki, you want to share anything else while waiting for the questions?
Hi, Dr. Anna. Lai here. Can I raise a question?
Yeah, sure.
Talking about diverse learner, we have students from Chinese community, Malay community, and Indian community, and so on. What are the specific strategy you might have with reference to different background of student from different background, as far as ESL teaching and learning is concerned?
Okay, we invite Delaney to answer that question.
Okay, thank you, Mr. Lai, for your question. So when we think about diversity, it's not only just about cultural background, like, from certain ethnic communities. Yes, there are differences in terms of their cultural practices and all, but when we think about the needs of diverse learners, we are talking about what helps them to engage with the materials or the content effectively. So if it is a cultural difference, then we have to create cross-cultural interactions. So if we have students who come from different communities in the same class, then we should encourage intercultural activities that promote this kind of awareness. That's just one aspect of it. Of course, when we talk about the teaching and learning process, everyone still has to go through the same process of practicing the use of English. So you still have your reading, writing, listening, and speaking. It's just the manner of presentation may differ from time to time. So you don't always use the same traditional methods, of just putting out some text on the screen and then just giving out some worksheets. But maybe you have some activities. Sometimes you go outdoors. Sometimes you do some other kinds of, assignments, maybe create a song, whatever that would work best for those students, because they may be more attracted to different forms of learning that are not so conventional. So I hope this answers your question, Mr. Lai.
Okay, thank you, Dilani.
Thank you. Okay, there's another question. They ask who to contact about the program. Okay, what at the end of this session, you stay back and the marketing people, the CMD, okay, will take any of your other questions concerning how to find out more about the program. But Miss Delaney and Dr. Wong has actually told you that you can actually contact us. Feel free to go to our website as well. All our details are there as well. Huh? Okay. Okay. Dr. Gerard has a question, Nikki. What's been your experience of the students from the TESOL program and help who have done your practicum with your learning centers? I think she did share a little bit, Dr. Gerard, but yeah, Nikki,
Okay,
over to
so
you.
what's my experience of the help students? Yeah. Okay, I mean, what's really nice is that I've had quite a lot of students come through, and actually they come from very different learning experiences themselves. And what that does is actually it empowers them to bring that to the classroom. And just listening also to the answer about the diversity in the classroom question, I think diversity and cultural diversity will also give you so a lot of starting points for your language teaching, and it brings your teaching into real life. So it's not just a textbook, it's not just something that's on the board, it's not something that's completely disrelated to what you're doing. But all those cultural differences can bring a huge richness into the classroom. And I would say when I look at the students that have come from help to me, none of them are the same, which is what I want actually. I don't want cloned teachers where they come out of a course and they're all exactly the same. So they just sort of regurgitate everything that's come through their 3 years learning. So for me, it's that diversity of those students that come to me that I'm really, really grateful for. And I think from the students' point of view, to see these young students coming, learning as well, sort of learning on the job as well, they bring so much colour to the school, to the class, to the students. And as Anna quite rightly said, you know, for me, it's not just about coming as a student to learn in the classroom. Actually, a lot of it is about what happens outside. So although you're coming into the classroom to put into practice the things that you've learnt, actually school is so much more than just the classroom. And what's been really great for me is I can hand on my heart say that every student that has come into the school, whether it's Newlands, whether it's Inai, wherever it is, has put 100% into what they've been doing and has taken part in concerts, has done dancing, has done CCAs for us, all sorts, gone on trips, all sorts of really, really different things. And I think just as having that proficiency within the language teaching, it's important to have other things that you can bring to the school, and definitely with the help students that we've had. And that has really been very beneficial to us.
Right. Thank you so much, Nikki. And I can tell you that for the next semester and maybe the following semesters, I will be calling you again. Okay, thank you so much. Right, thank you so much. You want to thank all our speakers, yeah, Nikki. You want to thank Delaney and also Dr. Wong for sharing from your heart, actually. And I think it's we actually gone above our time. Yeah, thank you so much. And you want to thank the audience. Thank you so much for joining us. Again, feel free to call us or email us, or check our details at the website. And if you have any other questions, okay, just feel free to do so. Thank you so much again for joining us, and keep safe, right? All right. Okay, stay back. Don't forget. Yeah, thank you again. Okay,
Thank you.
bye.
Thank you.
Bye.
Thank you very much for the session.
Thank you.
Thank you so much, Dr. and Nimla. And to all our panel members, we have definitely learned a lot from this session. Hope we have a clearer thought and awareness after this session today. And before I end the session, I have a small announcement again make for all school teachers and Form 5 students this year. We would like to inform you that HELP will be conducting SPM revision seminars starting from the 5th of September till the month of December. Subjects that are offered are AdMaths, Modern Maths, Physics, Sejarah, and Accounting so far. So if you are looking to get more tips, do join us for SPM revision seminars. And also, we'll be accepting application for our HELP SASA scholarship for Form 5 students this year, right? If there's any inquiries, please head to our website. If not, please be reminded that we have a team of marketing counselors available here now in this room to attend any inquiries you guys have. So please feel free to ask questions. And with that, I would like to send all my attendees, especially to all the attendees from overseas, from Philippines, Myanmar, Singapore. Thank you so much for joining us in our session today. Hope it's been a fruitful one for you all. And a quick hello to Dr. Paul, our Vice Chancellor and President of Health University, also to Professor Kong, our Vice Chancellor of Academics, who is in this session. Thank you so much for joining us today, sir. With that, please sanitize regularly and always practice our social distancing. Help University cares. Take good care and have a great day, everybody. Bye-bye.